programming in C# and ASP.NET. This is Mr. Wilson, your instructor and guide, as we take a closer look at C# and ASP.NET. CS ASP 021, this is the solution to the trucker tracker. Hey, just a little warning, spoiler alert, if you watch this, it's going to tell you how to do the truck tracker. Do not watch this unless you are stuck or you've already finished it and now you want to see kind of just a little bit of the logic of how I did it. Now, realize, as I like to say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. What that means is number one, it has nothing to do with cats. It just means that there's more than one way to do things. And so you could write this program quite a few different ways. And that's true of all of our programming. Programming is as much a art form as it is a science. So there's lots of ways to do this. So let's go ahead and go to Visual Studios. Hey there, gang. We're going to look at the trucker tracker that we created in 021. And there's just a few things, a few nuances I want to talk about with how you program it. What makes it a little easier, what is good coding practices. You guys are getting to the point where, we're doing a little more complex programs, so it's better if you go ahead and get into these practices right now. So I'm going to create a new project, WPF.net, and I'm just going to call mine CS ASP 02, and we made one, and I'm just going to say A after that, and so I'm just kind of adding some to that. And sorry, I put that in there. That doesn't go there. Next, and put that over here. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and create it. I know a few of you have been having, I keep hearing, oh, I haven't uploaded it to GitHub. I haven't uploaded it to GitHub. Or maybe you're not real sure how to do that. Some people are using GitHub Desktop to do that. And I find not as many people are using the GitHub tab right over here in Visual Studios. If you look over to the right, you'll see it here. There's Solution Explorer, shows you all your files. Then there's the GitHub tab, which is a real easy way to add this repository that now that I've created to my GitHub. If you look up here, if you're already connected to GitHub, it says create Git repository. Want to make sure that you're signed in and not somebody else. And if I create GitHub repository, it brings up all of my information, and then I just click the create and push button. And now it will create the GitHub repository online in the cloud to match the one that's on my computer. And then I just come over here and I click the little up arrow, and now it will push. So now it's built. It's in GitHub. I don't have to go to GitHub and sign in there and create a new repository and then clone that down and do all that. It's already done. Okay, so that makes it a little bit easier. The other thing I always do is, just because I want my window to be a little bigger, I come down here and change this to 900. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change this to 1,000. All right, make my window a little bit bigger. And that's just my personal preference for us to work on this. Okay, I'm going to pull that down just a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to turn this down to probably 80, maybe 70. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go 70. Okay, so done that. Let me come over here and say view, and I want my toolbox if you're missing that, and then just pin that there. Oops, sorry, I unpinned it. There we go. And so now I've got my toolbox to be able to work on this. I could blow that up just a little bit. Maybe 75 was better. Okay, and so now, you know, if you created this project, and I hate to go through and do all of this because it'll take just a little bit, but it's probably good that we just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to build this project pretty quickly. So I'm not going to put any labels on it. I'm not going to make it look nice. I'm just going to do it. Go ahead and grab a text box. We need one for the driver's name. I need one for the driver's Social Security. I need one for the driver's phone number. I need one, then I need a checkbox for if it's refrigerated. I'm going to come over to this checkbox and put REF for refrigerated. I'm going to change the no, I'm just going to leave it. And okay, and then I had a text box for the starting mileage. And let me come over here. I should be, let's do that while we're doing this. Let's say start mile. Let's put another one over here. And let's name it text box end mile. Okay. I'm also going to increase the size of those for my, so I'm going to come down here to text, and I want to blow those up to 20. Make them a little easier to read. There we go. And then I want to go to these two. That one was the driver's name, so I'm just going to put D name. And let's change that one to 20 also. I'm going to change all of these to 20, so if you want to be doing that as we go through here and rename these, that would be good. I'm going to change this one to driver's PH for phone. I guess we can just type out phone. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one, except I'm going to call this D for driver, SS for Social Security. Okay, and let's go ahead and change that to 20. All right. That's really what all the boxes and everything was we had. We had the labels and some of that stuff on there, but really the majority of it went in just like that, okay? So okay, and so all of these things are just, we don't have the formatting and the pretty way to lay this out. We're just doing it quickly so that we can look at the code. All right, so we're going to come over here, and I got to click the all WPS because we need calendars. So let's drop a calendar on right there. I'm going to move it up just a little bit, and I'm going to name that calendar. I think I called it start. Start calendar, just CAL, and then I'm going to grab another calendar, and I'm going to drop that over here, and I'm going to call that end cal. Okay, Okay, so I've got one that I called start calendar, start CAL, and end CAL. All right. So that is the calendars that we're going to use. And now I want to put my labels on for the displays. So let's grab a label and let's just drag it over here and drop it. And I'm going to switch that to 20, and I'm going to call that DN for driver's name. I'm going to go ahead and type out name, driver's name. It just makes it easier. Then I'm going to grab another label and I'm going to bring that over and I'm going to drop it on. And then that label, I'm going to say driver phone, D phone, and I'm going to make that 20. And a label here. DSS for driver's social security number. And I'm going to make that 20. Okay. Now go and grab a label here. And so this label will be our total miles. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to say label TOT and then miles. Okay. And I'm going to make that 20. And a label. And this one is total days. Total days. And I'm going to make that one 20. And a label here. And this is going to be total pay. TOT, PAY. And I'm going to come in here and make that 20. I think you're seeing a pattern by now. And finally one more. And this label is days off. Okay. So real quickly, we've laid out our page. The only other thing that we have to have on this page is our button. So I'm going to grab a button, bring that up here, and just drop it off. I'm going to come down here to where it says button. I'm just going to leave all that the same. I am going to change this to a little bigger, and there we go. Okay. So we've done all of those things. We've basically laid out the very bare bones of what our project originally looked at. And this is more about talking about the code than it is the formatting and putting borders and all that kind of stuff. That was all 8 or 10 videos ago. Okay, so now that we've got all that done, we're going to double click the button, and that'll go ahead and build this little piece of code here for us. We wouldn't have to do that. We could come over and we could type the code in here. Let me make this just a little bit bigger. There we go. So that'll make it a little easier to read. All right, so we're in here. So one of the things we want to start getting in the habit of always commenting our program. And we should comment before we write any other code. This is our pseudocode. This is what tells us what we're going to do step by step throughout our program. Okay, so we want to lay this in first. So let's go, and the first thing we pretty much always do in any program is we instantiate our variables. So let's go ahead and put that in. And the reason why is then anybody else that's working on this will find all the major variables right here at the top of our program. Okay? That also means I have to have thought through the whole process of what's going to go on in my program. Also, if you want to, I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to come up here. I'm just going to close that so it's out of the way. All right. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put in format driver info. That's going to be the second thing I'm going to do. And then I'm going to get, I want to do the calendar stuff. So I'm going to say get total days. Now, do you have to do these in this order? No. There's a few of them you have to do in a certain order, but remember, programming is kind of like art sometimes. There's more than one way to do it. We're going to say get days off is next. There we go, so we can read that a little easier. Next, I want to get total miles. And then I want to get total pay. And then I want to print driver ticket. Okay? All right. So that's all our steps really for this program. It's not more complex than that. And the nice thing about having this all laid out is now we can just go through and we can fill in each one of those little sections. We know exactly where we're at. We can stop, we can start, because we have an outline of what we're going to do. So let's start right up here with instantiate variables. Let's put a little bit of spacing in there. Remember, the spacing's for people. It's not for the computer. The computer doesn't care. But we need the spacing so we can read it a little easier. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a string, and I'm going to call it driver's name. Oop, I don't want to capitalize that. I want that lowercase. There we go, driver's name. Okay. And then I want to create some ints. I'm going to need some of these. I'm going to call this one Social Security is my first one. I'm still wanting to capitalize that, and I don't want that. Okay, and then comma, and I'm going to put in phone and NUM for num. And once again, comma, total miles, total days, I want to say number of total days and vacation days. Thinking that's what I'm going to need for integers. Let's come down here, and we're going to create a double, and we need total pay. If you remember, those are going to be they're going to be cash, so that's why we need a double, and we need rate pay. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to come in here, and I want to put I'm going to create some date time variables. Date time, and I want start date and end date. Okay, so now I've got two date time variables, one called start date and one called end date. And finally, I need I'm going to take rate of pay, and I'm going to set it to the default. And so the question is what is the default value? Well, if we go back and look at our business rules, we can find what our default value is. And our default value is 25 cents. So we're going to go ahead and put in 0.25 right there. Now we've set our default rate of pay. We can add the 12 cents to it if it's refrigerated, or we can leave it this way and go through and use it. All right. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit. All right. All right. That leaves me at formatting drivers info. Let's come down here just a little bit. Let me pull this down. Okay. So now I want to get the driver's info and I want to put it into the correct variables. That's really all I need to do. It's basically pulling information from text boxes and sticking it into the correct kind of variable. So if we take driver's name tab and equals, and I want the text box driver's name dot, and we want text. That's simple, that's done. The next thing that we want is we want the phone number. So I'm going to say phone number equals. Now I got to do something different here because I don't want to take the text box phone number. I want to change it into an int. So I'm going to say int. You remember how to do this. Parse. And then I'm going to change that, right? And I want text box, and what did I call it? Driver. Well, I don't see phone. So if you get in a spot like that, click here, go over here. Let's see what we called it. Text box D phone. Okay, text box D phone. Oops. Dot and text and semicolon. And we have to do the same thing for the Social Security. Social Security equals int dot parse, and that is text box dot text. Okay, so now I've gotten the driver's information here and I've put it into the variables. So let's go look at how do we go and get the driver's total days. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do total days. That's not a hard one to do. And so what we're going to do is our first thing we're going to say is start date equals, and then we called let's see, start date calendar, start cal, there it is. Start cal dot selected date dot and value. That's all there is to that. And then we go to end date equals end calc, in my case, dot selected date. Oh, I clicked that and meant to hit tab. And value. Okay, so now I've got my start date in one variable. I've got my end date in another variable. I just say I want number of total days. Number of total days equals, and then I'm going to go into parentheses and I'm going to say end date minus start date, and I'm going to come after that and I'm going to put dot and I'm going to put days. There we go. And that's all it takes to get the total days. Clean that up just a little bit. Okay. Get days off. Okay, so get days off is just a little bit harder because we have to make a couple decisions. And so the first thing we're going to type is if and tab. And it's going to build our if statement for us. So if and tab, and then inside here, I'm going to ask it a question. I want to say, is number of total days, is it greater than 4? Because if it's greater than 4, it's 5 or more. If it's 4 or less, then I don't want it to add vacation days. Okay, so if that's true, then there's vacation days due. So let's figure out the vacation days. Notice I'm going to create an integer, and I'm going to create leftover, and this would be the leftover days. Because one of the things I've got to do is I have to make my total number of days, I have to make it a whole number that is divisible by 5 with no remainder so that I can get my vacation days. You get vacation days for every 5 days worked, not 7 days and you get a remainder left over. Okay, so now I come in here and I say number of total days, and then I'm going to use modulus and 5. And so that will give me the remainder is modulus, which is a percent sign. Okay, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say total days equals number of total days minus, and then our leftovers. And hopefully you see that's why I had to have a total days and number of total days, because I don't want to change the number of total days. That's one of the things I have to print out. But it's okay for me to change this total days and put a number in there and use it in my calculation. Okay, then I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to say vacation days equals, and then I'm going to say parentheses, and inside the parentheses, I'm going to say total days divided by 5. And then outside this, I'm going to put times 2. And that will give me my total number of vacation days. Okay? All right. We've done a little bit of work here. I'm going to hit the save and build and make sure nothing's messed up. Good habit to be in. And it says, yes, that's okay. All right. And just going to close that. Okay. So let's go ahead. We've just got a couple more left. Get total miles. Let's knock that out real quick. This is an easy one. This is total miles equals parentheses int dot parse parentheses and text box start miles. No, I guess we want in miles first. In miles dot text, and then we want outside those parentheses minus, and once again int and dot and parse, and inside parentheses, and we want text box start miles dot and text and a semicolon. There we go. That's all we need for get total miles. Okay, so let's do get total pay. And once again, I want to use an if statement, if and tab. It builds my if statement for me. I'm going to use, I'm going to put some parentheses in here and say bool, because I'm going to check to see if that box is checked or not. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say check, and there it is, checkbox dot, and I want is checked, and then I want to say equals and true. So now it's going to evaluate that as a bool and say, is it checked? Okay. And so if it's checked, I want to say rate of pay equals, and remember, we gave this rate of pay 25 cents already. If it's checked, I just need to add the 0.12 to it, and that's done. Okay. Then I just come down here and I say total pay equals rate of pay times total miles. There it is. Okay. And there's our total pay. I'm not going to go through and well, yeah, I can do that really quick, but I'm not going to go through and put all the strings and the string formatting. Hopefully you figured that out on your own. I'm going to cheat. So, and my labels are named something different over there, so I would have to change the label names. But this would be basically the printout part of doing this, okay, of doing this program. So, hopefully that helps you as far as understanding how you use the comments and the code that you would use to do that. My labels are named just something a little bit different. That's why there's red squiggly lines over there. So you'd want to make the labels to the correct name. Okay. So I'm going to stop right there, and then I'm going to do one more just kind of a tack-on video that's going to show you how you can make this a much simpler, easier to manage program. All right, so let's just stop right there. Let's go back to the slides. Our next video is CS ASP 022 Simple Arrays. I look forward to seeing you there.